What's wrong with the Federal Reserve Bank interest rate policy in 2025? I'm here to talk about the Federal Reserve Bank interest rate policy. Why should the Federal Reserve Bank cut interest rate? Right now, the Federal Reserve fund rate is 4.5%. Prime rate is 7.5%. Prime rate is a rate that banks use and many financial institutions use to make decisions on the interest rate when they make loans to consumer and the business. And federal fund rate is the rate that Federal Reserve Bank use to regulate the economy and to control the inflation. In order to achieve maximum economic efficiency, the market interest rate should follow the second law of scientific economics. That's why I say that the Federal Reserve Bank current interest rate is wrong. Why? Because we should follow the scientific law when we manage the economy. Here, this formula presents the scientific law, which tell us how to set the correct interest rate for an economy. Well, in the equation 1 plus I, the result will times 1 plus S, the result will then equals to 1 plus R. Well, let's say where this coming from. This is from the author is Lowe Steffen, The General Theory of Economic Efficiency, published in 1999, volume 1 and page 166. And this is a scientific law. Why is it a scientific law? Because no scholar economist is able to falsify this theory. Okay, this conclusion. It has a falsifiability, but nobody is able to falsify. So it's a science. Okay, it is correct truths that tell you how to manage the economy. That's what the government should follow to manage the economy. Okay, I equals 2.7. I is the inflation rate. 2.7 is the current inflation rate. Today is August 2025, year 2025. Okay, so based on the website, the inflation rate is 2.7. And S is the productivity growth rate. And based on the labor statistic, I have the link here that displayed. And so the productivity growth rate is 2.4%, okay, for most recent year or 6 months. Interest rate is R is interest rate in the equation. This is interest rate for consumer or business. That's what say you use your home as a collateral to borrow like a home equity line of credit, and that's the rate you should get for consumer or business. Now, based on the scientific law, what is the optimal interest rate? And we can plug in the number, and based on the equation, we plug in the number and we calculate, and we got 5.16 here, 1.16. And we plug in the number, the inflation rate is here 2.7%, the productivity growth rate 2.4%. Then we got the optimal interest rate is 5.16%. Well, our current prime rate, which is indicator of the market consumer and business interest rate is 7.5%, which is not correct. The prime rate should be equal or less than 5.16% in order to maximize economic efficiency while controlling inflation. Okay, the Fed has caused $1 million damage to our economy, $1 billion damage, because we have millions of people out of work. Based on the labor statistic, and in 2025, we have 7 million workers out of job. This is a huge loss to the GDP, to the people who want to make money, and to our economy. So it means that our economy did not operate at peak performance. And now, how do we suppose to correct this? Okay, what should be the correct federal fund rate? Okay, now federal fund rate, current rate is 4.5%, as you see here. Assume the prime rate will be higher than the federal fund rate by the same percentage. We just make assumption. So we calculate the current, let's estimate the federal fund rate, what should be. Now, right now, the prime rate minus federal fund rate is 7.5% minus 4.5% is 3%. Let's give this, name it diff percent. If we assume this difference going to hold, just for simplicity, okay? Of course, this may not be exactly accurate, and as we do, based on historic data, we can do more statistical analysis to see if this holds true. But for this purpose, I just use 3%. So since we know there's a 3% difference, so the federal funds rate, we can easily calculate the optimal prime rate minus the difference, the diff percent, should be the optimal federal fund rate. That is 5.16%, which is the optimal interest rate that we calculate by using scientific law. Then minus the 3% difference, then we got 2.16%. And this final number is actually what the federal fund rate should be today. But of course, those people on the Federal Reserve are disqualified. They don't know the most advanced science in economics. They don't know any laws of economics. They don't know how to manage the economy. That's why they set this number incorrectly. So I hope when you see this video pass on to more people, so this will give attention to the government, to the Federal Reserve, to learn how to do things correctly. Thank you very much for your attention.